Hello friends, and welcome to part 2 of our Reconciling 2020 Journey into the Winter Solstice End of Year Review type thingy. We are taking a look at this year, getting real with it, and making peace so we can move forward into the absolute magic that is coming. Once again, this December 21st marks a great conjunction.
Ask what the Great Conjunction is. What's the Great Conjunction?
What's the Great Conjunction?
The Great Conjunction is
The end
of the
of
world.
world.
Oh, the beginning?
No, this great conjunction is marking a huge shift in the energy of the entire universe, and one that we haven't seen in a very long time. I actually just found out that when Jupiter and Saturn conjunct this December 21st, they are going to form the Christmas star. The Christmas star. I giggled and I squealed when I saw that. How gorgeous and magical and beautiful is that? It almost makes me want to cry. I'll probably cry when I look at it. I'm so excited. But anyway, back to the topic at hand. In part 1, we laid it all out on the table and allowed ourselves to grieve fully the pain of this year. And hopefully, if you did, you were able to find some sort of relief. And if you haven't yet seen part 1, you can go right back here and check it out again, or you can click the link down below in the description. For myself, this has been such an emotional week. Every time I think I've moved on from something, or I'm over something, or I've released something, something else comes back up. Overall, I have just been so tired. Processing emotions is exhausting, yo. But anyway, today we are looking at the brighter side of things, counting our blessings and honoring our growth. This year was rough, yes, and there was so much beauty in it. We saw communities come together to support one another. We all learned how to make bread. I didn't learn how to make bread. I didn't even try. I did make my first Irish stew though, and it was delicious. We witnessed the entire world stand up against racism and inequality. We met Baby Yoda. I know his name isn't Baby Yoda and he actually has a name. Please don't come for me. My mother voted for the first time in 30 years on the centennial anniversary of women's right to vote and our very first female vice president, who also happens to be a woman of color. There is no denying that a lot of incredible things have happened this year. And honestly, on a personal level, this has been one of the most beautiful years of my entire life. But we're not here to talk about me right now, so let's just hop to it. So for today's questions, we are not going to look at what we've lost. We are going to look at what we have gained from this year. And the first question is, where have I been blessed this year? What blessings did you receive? Blessings can come in many forms. They can come in the form of financial support that maybe you received from someone. Perhaps you developed closer relationships with your loved ones. Even though we're far apart, I know I myself have developed more meaningful, more intentional relationships with the people I truly care about. Since I couldn't see them, I made damn sure to call them as much as my mental health would allow. Did you reconnect with a passion or discover a new interest? Maybe you just spent some awesome quality time with your kids. Maybe you were blessed by the fact that you still kept your job throughout this year, or you got a new job, or you lost a job that you actually hated, and the whole world shutting down provided you a perfect way out of it. What were the blessings that you received during this year? From the big to the very small, because let me tell you, when it comes to blessings, size doesn't matter. Question 2. What have I learned, or how have I changed? Whether you realize it or not, or whether you made it your intent, you have grown. You have changed. You are no longer the same person you were a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And in fact, for this one, I want you to go back further than this year. I've been getting a lot more into astrology this year. And one of the biggest things that I've learned is that many of the energetic shifts that are happening right now have been going on for the past 3 years. So as you're answering this question, I want you to think about yourself in your life about 3 years ago. Where were you? How were you feeling? What were your interests? What were you up to? And how have you grown and changed since then? With a special focus on exactly how you've grown and changed this year. I think back to 3 years ago, I became a mother for the first time, and my entire sense of identity got flipped upside down. And honestly, for a while, I resisted the change. I had myself convinced that at some point I was going to be able to go back to the life that I had before I had a child. That I was going to be same old Sarah, performing and doing art and vending at craft fairs, but also a mother. No. It took a couple years for me to realize that that just wasn't going to happen, and that I was going to have to shift. I was going to have to grow. I was going to have to change. My life was different. My life was becoming something new. And I think it was only during this year, being at home all the time with my child, without all those extra things trying to take my attention and distract me and make me feel like I'm missing out, that I was finally able to settle into this new chapter of my life. I am a mother. That's who I am. Yes, I am still Sarah. Yes, I have all these other interests. However, this is the season of life that I'm in right now. And I don't know if without this year happening, I would have been able to find that peace with it. And it's honestly taken until maybe the last 3 months of this year for me to really settle down and settle into it and to really, really love it. But anyway, consider the progression of your life over these past few years and really, really witness how you've changed and how you've grown, what you've learned about yourself, what you've learned about your interests, what you've learned about things that will or will not work for you anymore. Really take some time and do some self-examination and write it out. And finally, question 3. What is calling to my heart? What is calling to your heart? In the midst of all this change and growth, things have no doubt been bubbling to the surface. A lot of that has been old memories and old wounds that are coming up for healing, but some of those bubbles have been little bits of inspiration, little tappings on your shoulder that just won't go away. What is it? What is it that's been maybe it's creating art or music or dance. Maybe you've been getting the nudge to go back to school and finally get that degree in environmental science. Perhaps you've finally been feeling pushed to go after your dream job. Maybe you've felt called to move to a completely different place. I know I have. What are you being drawn to? What is that thing or things that have been calling to your soul? Because I'm going to tell you something. These messages aren't random. The call is coming from inside the house. I suppose it was the wrong wording for me to say what is calling to your soul, because these calls are actually coming from your soul. There's a reason you're feeling these things. These inklings, these nudgings are the breadcrumbs that will guide you to the next step in your own evolution. And we'll talk about what to do with these in the next video, but for now, I just want you to write them down. I just want you to explore. And if you haven't been feeling anything, take some time perhaps. Take some time in quiet and really, really listen. What do you really want to do? What are you just itching to do? Like in those moments when you're bored at home and you're kind of tired of watching TV, what are you pulled to do? Really, really listen in. My soul won't shut up about starting a podcast. Leave me a little microphone emoji in the comments if you think I should. But that's it. That's it for part 2. If you feel so inclined, I would love to hear about your blessings and your learnings and how you're changing and what you're being called to. So please let me know down in the comments below and we can talk about it. My DMs are always open on Instagram. You can find the link down below as well. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe, hit the little notification bell, and share this with anyone whom you think would find it valuable. Whom? Did I use that correctly? I don't know. Anyway, share it out. I want to help as many people as I can with this. I love you so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. I will see you for part 3 in a few days. Okay, bye.